Klaus-Peter Siegloch, ist er denn da?
Ja, ist angekommen. David Hasselhoff ist hier.
Hallo! Hallo!
Und, liebe Zuschauer, wenn es ein Wort des Jahres gibt, dann ist es Freiheit, Freedom. Und wenn es ein Lied dieses Jahres 1989 gibt,
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here once again with my hauntingly beautiful co-host Liam McNeil. Liam, we had the week off last week.
We did.
We had a rest.
We had a rest.
Put the feet up.
We put the feet up.
Swung around in the hammock.
But not everyone had a rest, did they, Nagy?
No. Some was said to having a rest.
Yes.
The media, the mainstream media,
the corporate shills.
Yeah,
Murdoch's boys.
We're pointing the fingers
Yeah.
at some of their very own and said they were all there pissing up.
Oh, the entire squad, the whole top 30, they said, were in Uluwatu.
Yeah.
On the barrels getting shredded.
On the
On
buckets.
the bintangs.
All the terrible drinks you have over there. Like,
Yeah.
But hang on a second, Liam.
Hang on a second.
They weren't all over there.
If anything, it was the opposite of all of them being there.
Yeah.
Just one of, that's not the opposite. The opposite would be none of them.
None of them being
But there was one.
A singular man.
A singular man. A man we like to refer to as the Thumb.
The Thumb.
Bradman Best.
But this is all encompassing in a segment we like to call the news. Yeah, Bradman Best was apparently the only player to go over to Bali.
And if you listen to, again, those corporate shills, they'll tell you that that's all he was there for, to get a tattoo. They said he's getting a tattoo. That's the entire reason for his trip, and it's not good enough. But Bradman came out with a bit of a smackdown, didn't he?
Oh, he did.
Now, what was Bradman really doing over there? I'll tell you.
Yeah,
he was
please.
visiting a friend.
A friend.
A friend of his, who I believe his name's Tico or Nico, and he formed a friendship with this fella a couple of years back, and he's been seeing him ever since. And turns out, Bradman went over there to help him and his family, who are financially challenged, build themselves a family home.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not the sweetest thing that you could ever imagine, I don't know what is.
It's the opposite of a holiday.
The exact opposite. And Bradman, he was pretty well behaved in an interview. He did say, he was upset.
Yeah.
That the corporate shills accused all the players of going when it was just him.
Yes.
But he did also lay a bit of a smackdown on them, and he stopped short of calling them idiots.
Yeah.
But we won't. You idiots.
Yeah, idiots.
NRL media.
Kerry Packer once said, Liam, you never start an argument with someone that buys ink by the ton. Which means you don't poke fun of the media because the media fights back. And what we were expecting a kickback from the media, and they delivered one by saying, guess what? The Knights are shopping Bradman Best around.
And not only that, Bradman Best is a man who looks like he has several tons of ink in him.
Yeah.
And also just someone you wouldn't want to start a fight with. But I think the funniest thing about all this to me in retrospective is that a certain rugby league journalist, who we will not name for legal reasons, said that if he has a particularly bad day at work, boss says, doesn't matter, you show up on Monday.
Exactly right.
Ironically, that certain member of the rugby league media, who we won't name for legal reasons, was told not to show up to work on Monday. Stood down for reasons that we will not discuss for the sake of legality.
The legal team has advised us to please not comment on it until it's all wound up in court.
Well, we're still paying off our legal fees against the city of Cessnock.
Cessnock.
But it was a beautiful bit of serendipity and maybe a bit of Schadenfreude, perhaps, Nagy.
Well, I think there's a question that needs to be asked, because what the article they talked about Bradman Best, Liam, they said Bradman Best and Daniel Saifiti are potentially going to be moved on for the sake of Kalen Ponga's contract.
Now, you sent an interesting voice message to me earlier, Nagy.
I sent many.
You sent many, and I returned many, of course. It was funny, actually, when I was gone for all those years, I'd start sentences just in the middle of the room, and Brittany would look over and say, what are you talking about, Liam?
Your dear wife,
You're talking to Nagy, aren't you? You're sending messages.
We send these long. It was basically a way to continue a podcast, which is just a podcast shared between yourself and myself.
Yeah. And then they made the mistake of expanding them from 1 minute to 6 minutes. My God, it was a whole lot of misses. But anyway, Nagy, you sent one to me earlier where you've got a bit of a theory about this. Well, and again, what the rugby league shills are trying to achieve by slandering.
Yeah.
It's slander and libel
Libel.
our Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, the question is they want to say, well, why would they be moving these two almost cult figures on from the Newcastle Knights? Well, it's gotta
Local
be
juniors.
Local juniors. Of course, it's because of Kalen Ponga's large contract. Everyone knows that Kalen Ponga's on a lot of money, but it's actually about the same amount of money that he's been on for the last 5 years, just expanded as the salary cap has also expanded. So relative to all the other players, he's on the same amount of money.
Isn't it funny, Nagy? I don't think I'm speaking out of school. You're not much of a mathsman.
No.
As soon as you introduce rugby league and dollar values, my God, you're like the Rain Man.
The Rain Man.
No. John Nash.
He was also a bit mental.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Simple Mind. Is that the film?
I do have a simple mind, Liam. A beautiful mind.
Sorry. Yes, the Simple Mind was about Nagy and I's co-joined brain. Each man with half a brain. Bringing together a fully functioning human brain.
Simple, beautiful mind.
I was thinking of that great movie, Simple Jack.
I thought you were talking about the band Simple Minds.
I was talking about the band Simple Plan.
What a terrible... They're Canadian, weren't they, Liam?
Yes, they were.
Oh, terrible.
Excuse me.
But Liam, there's been so much been happening in the news.
Wait.
Oh, I think I forgot. Kalen Pong is on about the same amount of money.
Contract, they say.
Well, he's a mega contract. This is the recipe that the news shills like to throw out there to get a couple of clicks from us, bleeding heart Newcastle Knights fans. And they say something terrible's about to happen, and then they just throw Kalen Ponga's name in there. And they give it a shake, and then they let the word salad fly out. It's all going to be AI written soon anyway. They'll all be out of jobs.
Well, if it's AI written, I don't know if you, Jousters, read the rugby league media as little as I do, with good reason. AI would do so much of a better job with its lack of understanding of the game, its lack of understanding about nous and nuance, and its generally grammar. What we've seen over the last few years, especially from the Fox NRL staff writers, who I believe are just a cover for the more well-known journalists on an off day. I don't think an AI-generated NRL media would be a noticeable difference.
Well, at least if it was AI over James Hooper, they might use a comma correctly. But moving on, Liam, there's been so much happening in the
and I will live and die by the Oxford comma. People argue about the importance of the Oxford comma. That's like arguing about the importance of breathing.
Yeah. Both are quite important, really, like commas and breathing. And Newcastle Knights. All three of those make up the pyramid of what we focus on. Greatness, everyday focus. Liam, at the start of the season, there's a bit of a rite of passage, and you think, who's going to be, this is how volatile our game is, Liam, who's going to be the coach that gets sacked first? And there's always names thrown up there. Adam O'Brien was thrown up there. We say, he was under pressure. The fire is burning and just touching his toes.
And a lot of those articles are coming from those same idiots who have just been lambasting.
Oh yes,
and now we are them.
But now we have
become them.
We've become the thing we hate. Shit. But Liam, there's a first coach that has been sacked for the NRL, and that is Anthony Griffin. Hook, as they say.
Now, there's something interesting that happened a couple of weeks ago that I've never seen in my time following the National Rugby League and its predecessor, the ARL, and predecessor to New South Wales Rugby League.
Pray tell.
Now, they said to Anthony Griffin, they said, look, we're not going to fire you, Anthony. We're not going to fire you. We're not going to shit can you. But you will have to interview for your job.
Yes.
Now, I have not been fired from many jobs. I'm an exemplary employee. In fact, I don't think I've been fired once. Except the dodgy Persian man who let me go from the furniture...
the rug sale?
The dodgy furniture store he had set up in the old store.
The store.
On Hunter Street.
Hunter Street.
He fooled me into thinking I'd be a furniture salesman.
Yes.
And then I arrived and he said, I've got 7 shipping crates of cheap Chinese furniture. Can you please unload this into the store?
And anyway, and then he let you go. He said,
yes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of mutual though, because
did they have a sale on that would never ended?
Well, that was the thing. He didn't have a sale on. No one bought it. No one bought anything. And low foot traffic at the store.
You took me in there once to the store. Newcastle's great. This store, and it was a frightening experience. And this is about 1 p.m. on a Thursday.
They had about, I think it'd be safe to say a 35% occupancy rate. So it was like something in a film.
Yeah.
And they had that one leather jacket store.
And the elevators weren't from there. They'd been retrofitted into...
They'd actually been taken from Parkley Markets. Whose owner owned the store and his son was running the store. So it really was a Newcastle institution.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they closed it. And, I think they made a mistake. Anyway, Hook Griffin has gone the way of the store.
Now, was this a right call? There's been 6
Absolutely.
losses in a row, and he made a very interesting decision because his name's Hook, and he was hooked, but he also hooked a player.
He did.
On the weekend, after putting him, saying, no, it was Sullivan.
Jaden
Sullivan saying, no, you're going to be starting halfback. We like you, kid. Go out there and kick the ball and do all those great things you do. And then he got sin bin and he's like, you're out, kid. You're never going to make it.
You're done, he says. And who did they replace him with? I believe instead of him, they kept Moses Mbai. Now, the thing was, let's just look at a couple of Anthony Griffin's key mistakes he's made this year, because I think there's some that really should have led us to believe that this was in fact going to happen, which we all knew all along. Zach Lomax and Moses Sully, both good centers, both playing semi-decent rugby league. Swapped them. All of a sudden, Lomax is in reserve grade, hasn't been seen since.
Moses Sully only scored 1 try for the entire season.
Speaking of Moses, another one. Moses Mbai was played ahead of Jacob Little, who had shown some promising form at hooker. Then the benching of Jaden Sullivan, Junior Ramon, they've all got J names. And all these junior players under him, Sullivan,
maybe because
the Fianai brothers, Tyrell Sloan, they've shown flashes of being fantastic, but a lot of them have stagnated.
Maybe because he was being told to bring up the juniors of the club, and maybe he just thought, I'll bring up all the J's.
Now, the thing about that as well is that people believed him. Because if you recall, when he got fired from the Penrith job, they were in the top 4.
They were.
The juniors were developing. He took a lot of credit for the junior development there.
He was rubbing his hands together, seeing them win all those premierships.
He was.
That's my doing.
Yeah, and it clearly wasn't. And I saw something today suggesting he's a very old-fashioned man.
Yeah.
Definitely a racist, as we've seen on...
A strong racist.
Yeah, check his Twitter account. He follows a lot of One Nation and various
is he more of an old
He's an
school?
old racist.
Like an old charming racist, not like
No.
those.
Have you ever seen an interview with him? He's not charming at all. He's just an old arsehole who's racist. And look, the young people today, a bit more accepting, a bit more liberal.
Of course.
I don't think he knew how to deal with these millennials,
young
Gen
hooligans.
Zers.
Even the players at the moment are Gen Zers. I don't think there's many millennials getting around except probably Ben Hunt. He's probably
and that's the man I feel the most sorry for. He said in a post-game interview a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if this was an exact quote, but this is kind of the theme of what he was saying, is that if they get rid of Hook, he doesn't know what he's going to do. He's too old for another rebuild. He doesn't want to go through the process of having the club torn apart and being built up around him because he's very old.
Very old.
He's a very old man.
Is he the most sacked coach the NRL has ever seen? Because he was sacked from Brisbane, he was sacked from Penrith, he was sacked from St George. I know it's rare that coaches ever really step down and retire under their own accord. They're either pushed out the door or they're formally sacked. But
Trent Barrett's nipping at his heels with 2.
Oh, 2, of course.
Flanagan, he was more...
No,
he had a sacking put upon him.
It was just the one.
Cheating.
Yeah, the cheating, of course. But
which we'll come back to in the...
What we're talking about actually right now, Liam, we've got the 3 possible replacements. We've got Shane Flanagan, in and around that part of the game where it's like he's always sort of like, with my big white teeth.
Let me just say this about Shane Flanagan. The fact that he has even been considered to be allowed to be a coach at any level in the NRL... It still boggles my mind. The man was banned for cheating.
Yeah, he was.
And while he was banned for cheating, he was banned for cheating again. While he was banned for the very cheating that got him banned in the first place.
Yeah.
How do you look at that man and say, this is a man with integrity.
Yeah.
This is the man who I want to be the face of my rugby league franchise. How do you do it?
It's the pearly white slam. He's
They
a
are
big old grin.
pearly white. But the other 2 are interesting, and they fall into the trap that's haunted St George Illawarra since the days of the joint venture.
Jason
Ben Hornby,
Riles.
Jason Riles.
Yeah.
They love hiring their own. Now, those 2 were, to be fair, club legends. I believe both played in the 2010 Premiership.
Jason
perhaps.
Riles has gone that perfect amount of grey.
He really has.
He's kept the hair and just gone grey. But also
he hasn't aged either. Nor has Ben Hornby, actually. Ben Hornby's just receded.
They sort of look like they could both just run back out in the field now. Imposing figure, Jason Riles. They were both around. Ben Hornby played State of Origin. It's hard to remember. So I think when he was just there in the midst of about 2007 to 2010, around maybe fullback, maybe halfback. I don't know.
I think Riles would be the front runner, given his experience with both the Melbourne Storm and the Sydney Roosters, 2 very successful clubs, working with 2 very successful coaches, but. The key thing in the Riles' potential re-signing, Joust, as we say potential, of course, is that Bellamy, which we forgot to put this in the news, actually. Craig Bellamy
we can put it right now.
Will be coaching on in 2024, and I think that was the role that Riles was looking for.
Yeah.
So Riles, I think, personally, conjecture,
absolutely,
broad hyperbole,
liable,
5-year deal.
Yeah.
Slander,
all of it.
5-year
deal, straight to the Dragons.
Straight to the Dragons.
There's a lot of talk, Liam.
Dean Young, though.
Dean Young, there's
Now,
another
Nagy
one.
threw this one in the mix. Another ex-Dragon.
I threw it in there and watched it rotate around and around because it's mixing. It's round and round, and then Dean Young spat out.
How could he be a good coach, though? He's still looking over his shoulder for Greg Inglis everywhere he goes.
Angry man.
How can you
also.
focus on the game when you've got one eye kept out for a man who tried to murder you?
You got to keep your eye out. You could be coming from anywhere, Greg Inglis. Came out absolute nowhere and changed the game forever, banning the shoulder charge. Liam, when we're talking about mid-season, round 11, we must be talking about State of Origin.
Yeah, we really do. Look,
And
we love State of Origin here at the Joust. It's footy Christmas. I know some people dislike it because it interrupts the season. It causes a turgid middle third of the year, but
Yeah.
we love it here at the
Middle
Joust.
bit.
Middle bit.
Yeah, but it's interesting when you look at State of Origin. It's such a broad church of discussion. So really, what I think we're going to discuss at the moment, the big questions in amongst the Blues and the Maroons, and that really is our very own Kalen Ponga going to beat Reece Walsh out for the fullback spot.
Yes.
Now that Reece Walsh has has established himself.
Sexy baby.
He's
Look at those eyes.
he's a good-looking man, I would say, but so is Kalen
So's
Ponga.
the Wiz.
So is the Wiz. He just
Nobody
has that
beats him.
look. Nobody beats the Wiz.
Now, I'm going to go with yes, Kalen Ponga will be at fullback, and for this reason. Queensland, I hate this, but they get Origin. They know that loyalty, incumbency are important. And for too long, New South Wales have been accused of, rightly so, chopping and changing as a reaction to what Queensland are doing, where Queensland do what they want to do,
Yeah.
what they know to do. Remember when they didn't pick Billy Slater that time?
Did they not? Oh,
No,
yeah.
they picked Darius Boyd out
Darius
of him,
Boyd.
and it all went pear-shaped.
Well, we've got our own debacle now. Do we stick with the loyalty of Jerome Luai, or do we lash out and go for a Nico Hines? One of those, the fancy new car on sale there because it's the latest model because he won the Dally M last year and he's playing great football. Do we say, sorry, Jerome, go away, back to Penrith. We've got our new Cronulla boy.
Now, up until last week, I was all in on the Hines bandwagon. I was all in on Nico playing outside Nathan Cleary. But I've come around a bit back to Jerome. Yeah. And with good reason, what we just discussed. Yeah. The importance of incumbency and the importance of loyalty.
Loyalty, yeah.
And why it works for Queensland, but it never works for New South Wales. I think Freddie will do it. I think Freddie will stick with him. And if you look back at the last couple of Origin series, in the winning games, Luai's actually been not bad.
It hasn't been,
which a lot of people forget.
A lot of people forget. I think, but there's been a big smear campaign against him, but I don't think he's been playing too badly. I think last week's game, especially, he's really lifted his form, and I think New South Wales loves combinations, possibly to their own detriment. But I think that's where they're going to be picking and sticking. But Liam,
but then a little birdie flew into my head. Cody Walker.
Tweet. I think Cody Walker. He's
got the mongrel in him to succeed at Origin. I love that.
I love Cody Walker.
But I think it'll be Cleary and Luai. As much as I hated that idea up until about 3 days ago.
I think it was 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was actually on the car on the way here.
State of Origin, Liam, there's only one place to watch it, and that is the Hamilton Station Hotel. They have a wonderful promotion. If you get down there, you can drink $10. $10 barely buys you a schooner these days.
$10 Australian as well.
But it gets you an entire jug.
And $1 wings, buffalo teriyaki or barbecue.
2 is new, 2 is old, $10 jugs, $1 wings. Where else could you go to watch State of Origin?
Pub in Orange. Unfortunately, Nagy and I won't be at the Hamilton Station. We will be out of town. Apologies, Joust.
We are holidaying together, aren't we?
We are.
We are holidaying
pub.
together. A pub in Orange. But if we're in Newcastle, at that time,
at the station,
we'll be at the station because that's a wonderful promotion to watch it on all their fabulous sports areas on their many, many screens. There won't be one part of the pub that you cannot see that game.
Well, we went to the Hamilton Station last weekend for the music program with Main Guys and the Other Guys and our very own Josh Ballico.
Yeah.
What a facility.
Yeah.
What a facility.
It was fantastic.
You could hear the music. You could watch the footy. We did our Flame Trees karaoke.
We did.
All on the same night.
It was
the same evening.
It was a musical night, wasn't it?
It was a musical night.
It was
very
a night
musical
of musical
night.
celebrations. So much so that I've forgotten what's next in the news. Now I've got to look at them. I think if we look at a certain team, if we look at expectations at the beginning of the season, so a lot of people were saying the Newcastle Knights going to struggle, maybe the Wooden Spoon. We said no. But they said who's going to be on the top? They said the Sydney Roosters going to be in the top 4. Absolutely. I don't think they are anymore.
I don't think they are anymore. To echo
exactly the words that I said.
What you said. Yeah, well, you put it so succinctly. I don't think they are anymore, and I think I agree with you. The way they have built their roster, it's all topsy-turvy. They've got a lot of investment in some big names. Your Tedesco's, Luke Keary's on big money.
Brandon Smith.
Joey Manu.
Is there too
Joseph
much faith?
Suoli'i.
Is there too much faith put in Joey Manu?
No, he's fantastic. He's
But
wonderful. He can't do anything wrong.
He's a wonderful
brilliant.
centre.
But he's not a 5'8".
He's played some exceptional games at fullback. But then they put him at 5'8", and there was a round of applause from the rugby league community saying, well, of course, Joey Manu, he's very, very good. He would be excellent at 5'8". He always plays well there. Words they were used. He always plays well there. When? Never. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Now, I would argue that he would be good at 5'8" if you had a controlling halfback inside him a la Sam Walker.
Yeah.
Except they're playing Luke Keary, who plays much more like a running 5'8", and also is scrambled in his brain from having it smashed so often.
All the knocks.
So I think
he wears the headgear now to keep the cracked egg of his skull.
So the halves mix isn't right.
No.
And then if you look at their depth, they just don't have any depth. They've invested so heavily in some high-end players, some real blue chip players, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And underneath it, it's built on a foundation of sand.
Wet sand. You sink your
Dry
foot
sand
into.
would be worse for a foundation, I'd think.
It's probably true. Yeah. We're not structural engineers. Neither of us can claim to be structural engineers.
And you should not accuse us of being
Not
so,
accuse us
please.
to be so. Please do not rely on our information to be structural engineers. A la the Joust versus the city of Cessnock.
They won't stop coming after us.
They
won't rest until this show's cancelled.
A few mistakes that we published, claiming to be certain professions that we are not, and we have not heard the end of it. You know, that was mere months ago.
Wait until the bar comes after us.
It's exciting, Liam, to see some new signings come to the club. They're unheard names of our very own Newcastle Knights.
Yes, we've got giant forward, as is referred to in this article here, Dane Alcafalau. Now, this is a signing that's very near and dear to my heart because where have we signed him from?
The Bears.
The North Sydney Bears. Now, I don't know if I'm correct on this, but I think the last player to go from the Bears to the Knights or vice versa was Adam Muir, Hertzie.
Adam Muir.
I saw him at a bar I worked at, Isobar, back in the old days where we'd have our Origin nights. He came up to the bar and I served him a drink and I was like, oh, Adsy. Or Adam, I called him. I don't like the nickname Adsy. I said, mate, I'll buy you a beer. I had your trading cards growing up as a kid. Big fan. And he goes, yeah, they wouldn't be worth much.
He's very funny.
So that was funny, yeah.
But he's a very powerful representative player.
He's a great player.
Because he was with us in 97, then went to the Bears in 98.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
so he missed 01 and, of course, had 1 year with the ill-fated Northern Eagles.
Yeah, they do.
Bit of a stain on his career. What was a great career.
But quite often we sign players and, you know, they come after like some big fanfare and they don't really do much. But this fellow's, how can you pronounce his surname again? I'm going to...
I think it's Alcafalau. Alcafalau. Please correct me, Dane. I know he listens to the show.
Big fan of the show.
Give us a call, Dane. We'll get it right next time. If we did not, and if we did, you're welcome.
Debuted in the New South Wales Cup, or I think it's called the Knock-On Effect Cup, because someone who named that competition had no idea what the hell they were doing. And he scored 2 tries.
I never thought about that. They've named the competition after one of the dumbest mistakes you can make in a game of rugby league. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, 2 tries, I think.
2
most
tries
recently.
in the first half. It was pretty incredible to see. So,
coming in from a successful Bears team, so you know he's playing pretty good. If you can make the reserve grade Bears team currently, you got to be a decent chop.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially if our very own Tyson Frizzell on his current form makes the Blues side.
That headline intrigued and delighted me.
Yeah. So we might have a back row ready to go. But before we jump into the Newcastle Knights' fantastic win, we saw it over in Germany. How excited they were! Their fantastic win over the Gold Coast Titans. We're going to take a halftime break.
The Nazis of this whole story.
And we'll be
no, the East Germans.
The
communists.
Or the West
of the
Germans.
Story. No, we were the West Germans. They were the good ones. The democratic.
I wasn't there.
The Knights.
We were.
I mean, as a concept, the Knights were West Germany.
We'll be right back, Justice. We'll take a halftime break and we'll see you soon to discuss everything Titans.
And the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam, we were under a considerable amount of pressure coming out of round 9.
According to the NRL corporate media shills. We were under pressure.
Well, we did get flogged by the Eels, and it was our first really bad game. And a lot of deep down, as a Knights supporter, you start to think, now, is that our first bad game of many? Because we love to have bad games and patches.
Yep.
And but so there's pressure coming on. It was
reminds me of the great quote by the terrible man Winston Churchill.
Of course.
We were thinking, is this the end? He said, no, this is not the end. This is not even the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
But it is the end of the beginning.
Of course.
Where the beginning was us playing well.
Yeah.
And the end was us falling into a heap and coming last again.
I thought you would have liked it. I thought you were a bit of a Churchillian sort of a film.
Yeah, he's a racist.
Of course, well, he is
Horrifying.
a racist. Again, him and Hook.
He murdered millions of my Irish family members.
Of course, the Irish. I forget about the Irish connection. I'm also Irish as well. I should probably remember
you should
that.
despise this man.
I thought you would have. I just thought you would have, because he was a big drinker and he loved war. That's basically
those are good things. Yes,
that's what you love as
what
well.
I do.
That's
I also conduct most of my meetings from the bathtub, as Winston did as well.
That's a wonderful way to start the day. Everyone come in and join me in the bathtub. But Lee, there was an exceptional amount of pressure on our beloved Newcastle Knights. Can we, at home, with our under pressure side, Kalen Ponga, out of form. I think it was clear to say to everyone. Everyone's got is he adding value to this side? But is he, or is he going to be, be the force that we know that he is?
Now, I hate to say I told you so. Just before we get into the review, spoiler alert, Kalen's got our hats off for the week. He's got our super hats off, in fact. There's more to come after. But a lot of people will tell you that they hate to say that they told you so.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm a petty bitch and I love saying I told you so. Now, there were Knights fans after that game against the Eels who said, drop him.
Yeah.
Drop him in reserve grade.
Put
him on the bench. Cut up his contract. Put him in a rocket. Fire him at the moon. Hopefully he dies halfway to Jupiter. What did I say, Nagy? I said, stick with it.
Stick with it.
I said, stick with it. This will take time. This will take effort. This will take severe intestinal fortitude, an enormous set of balls.
Yeah.
And guess what AOB's got?
A big set of cojones.
Big old set of clangers banging around between his legs. And I think it paid off this weekend with the wonderful performance of Kalen Ponga. If you look at his stats line, he scored a try, 2 try assists.
3 try assists.
3 try assists, 2 line break assists as well, I believe. A
amazing.
line break of his own.
It was incredible.
Still lots of missed tackles, but when his attacking output more than makes up for those defensive lapses, I think we've seen that this man could be...
This man can play.
This man can play.
46.
The boy can play.
46 to 26, a score that we have not managed since 2013, when we were mere boys, Liam, in 2013.
Which, that surprised me. It seems like whenever the Knights win, you forget how long the Knights have been bad for. So when they said the worst since 2013, I was like, well, we just won a game. Aren't we the best team since...
or the best
2013.
We're the best team ever. Well, I think so. It was incredible to see our backs up against the wall, and they really pushed forward to beat a Titans side who just beat the Eels, who had just beaten us.
And the thing now, this impressed me the most. Obviously, in a game where you win by 46, when you score 46 points, the attack is the focus. But it was the defense at certain points in the game that really, really nailed the win. I think it was a period of 25 minutes to go, maybe 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
We pinned the Titans down on their own goal line and just hammered. There was one set where last tackle, they hadn't even cleared the 20-meter line.
No.
And it was those strong periods of very up-in-your-face, abrasive tackles led by the Safidis, led by Lachlan Fitzgibbon is turning into a pretty heavy hitter. There was some
Phoenix
good work.
Crossland.
Phoenix
Crossfield Bomland.
Now, we're going into our hats on again. Because we wanted more than just a super hats on. We also wanted a supplementary set of hats on. And for us, Phoenix Crossfield Bomland gets it again. Yeah. And lived up to his name, of course, with the Crossfield bomb that led to Jackson Hastings' Crossfield bomb for the Dom Young try.
Crossfield chip, maybe. It was a bomb to the chip. Yeah. And it was wonderful to see. Phoenix seems to be getting better. He seems to be improving on this position as hooker, which is probably not what we assumed would happen when we had Jaden Brownlee get injured. We thought potentially he might do a job, very similar to Randall, who was playing with the Titans. We might have seen, he'll just go out there and do a job. He's adding value.
And cast your mind back, Nagy, to the beginning of the season where all the Knights fans were saying, Phoenix Cross, there's 1 million better NRL players than him. 1 million players in the NRL are better than Phoenix Crossland. Now, I couldn't even name 3 players who are better than him.
No, all right, he's up
Kalen
there.
Ponga.
Possibly. Yeah.
And no one else.
That's about it.
Phoenix.
That's about
Phoenix.
it.
But we've got a second hats off for a supplemental.
Yeah.
Of course, you remember in the lotto, they'd always read the supplemental numbers out, which I never got.
I think
if you don't get the numbers, you just shouldn't win. Yeah. It shouldn't be like you didn't get the numbers, but you almost got them.
You can throw these ones in.
Yeah. Doesn't make much sense.
No, the lottery doesn't. Yeah. No. Well, that's why we haven't invested as much in the lottery anymore.
Remember when that was one of the most watched broadcasts in all of Australia? It was 8 o'clock, the lotto would come around and everyone just switched the channel over. We've got to watch the numbers.
It is fun to watch.
It is fun
when
to watch.
they all popped up there with the air and then they come
the thing
down.
would catch it and go...
And and when you're a child and it happened, you'd be like, 27, and then it was like, 27, you're like, hooray, I've won. And it's like, well, you haven't. And also...
So you wonder why we're a nation of gambling addicts. They made the lotto...
prime time.
And enjoyable for children.
That would have been a good job, just to be the
been a
presenter of the lotto.
Was it
just
Larry M that did it for a while?
Did he?
I don't know.
Let's look that up. But as we have, so we had
We'll fix it in post.
hats off to Kalen Ponga, the Pong. Welcome back to fine form. Seeing him in full flight. They couldn't keep a good man down for very long. But then
They tried.
Supplementary hats off to Phoenix, Crossfield Bomlin, and the Frizz.
The Frizz. The man with the hair so tightly cut, it belies his nickname. But he reminded me just how fast he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's like lightning.
He is quick.
He's very quick. Runs hard. He runs to hurt. I can't remember, someone was talking about Steely Tupanua the other day. He's one of those players, and when he runs at you, it's all elbows and knees. But for Tyson Frizzell, it's so much more because he's just a series of granite bulges.
Yeah.
And so he just runs at people to hurt them.
Yeah.
Then he tackles to hurt. He did miss that tackle on Fafita for the Fafita try, but that's David Fafita.
That's David
You're
Fafita.
going to miss a tackle on him every now and again.
Look, I think a lot of people will look at the scoreline of 46-26 and say, well, the Knights did it easy.
No.
But they did it tough. They wrestled back the lead, not once, but twice. To me, it was
2 wrestles.
6-12 at one stage, and they managed to get a 12-all with a beautiful kick from Kalen Ponga onto the flying Tyson Frizzell right before halftime. Something that we're not known for. We used to concede points just before halftime.
Remember Brownie would get everyone to have some Seroquel at halftime and they'd come out
and that's
lethargic.
the feeling. And after the good work of that, some really tight work in defence to earn the try at the other end. And I thought, here we go. We've turned the game. And then first try goes back to the Titans, 18-12. I think, oh my God, the game's gone again. Do we have enough points in us to score more than 18 points? I don't think we do. Boy, I was wrong. They blew us away with another, just like that Canberra game, if you remember earlier in the season, when they had this.
I do remember earlier in the season.
This guy.
Weirdly enough. It's a very
great.
strange feeling.
We had this moment, this period where we're just like, everything was going our way and we could not stop scoring points. Points were being poured into us by buckets from the top of the stadium, and we were catching them going, yes, and there was some that we didn't quite get, but it was amazing.
If you were to pour points out of a bucket, would they be a liquid?
Yeah.
Or would they be solid numbers coming out? Like, would you have to catch...
I think it's like...
The points are a concept, a liquid concept, or are they just like bits of concrete shaped as the numbers?
I think they would be like ping pong balls with numbers like the lotto, and it would be like Larry Ebner. And he'd be pouring them. He'd be pouring them because he's lost his mind, because he's lost his job as the guy that used to read it a lot. And Liam, you've been doing interesting things with pastry recently.
I have been, and I'm glad you mentioned that kick for the Tyson Frizzell try, because I had a pie today. I went to Banjo's Bakery there at Glendale. Now, it is a chain bakery.
Yeah.
Which I worry about from time to time. But even at the same time, even the worst pie in the world is still a good pie.
Great pie.
So I worry about chain bakeries, but this pie really reminded me of the try. Let me tell you why.
You got to this. I would love it if they continued on in a rhyme, but if it doesn't,
Jousters don't know I'm an amateur rap man. Yeah.
You're a spoken word poet.
Yeah, like the Buddy Wakefield of our generation. So anyway, I had this pie and I bit into it. I thought, it's so hot. Yeah. This is too hot and it's too full.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I thought when Kalen Ponga dropped that ball onto his boot. It looked like he'd shot it out of a cannon.
Yeah.
I said, this kick's too hot. This kick's too full. But as the kick rolled and developed, it just hit this perfect temperature. It hit this perfect gap in between the winger and the fullback where it became the perfect temperature to eat.
Yeah.
And I plowed it down in the last bite. It was so packed to the gills with brilliant Tyson Frizzell catching and scoring that it was a really enjoyable pie and a really enjoyable try. I had a great time eating that, and I had a great time thinking about it and just reminiscing about a wonderful try.
Chef's kiss.
Yes. So yeah, Banjo's Pies at Glendale, albeit a chain pie store, but an enjoyable one.
But an enjoyable pie. We can't look too far ahead without seeing the shark that's circling us, both figuratively and as well as the team that's we'll be playing in just a few days.
Say literally. What they don't know, Joust, is what you don't know is this is actually an island.
An island.
We're a garage and an island in the middle of the Hunter River.
We get a
the
bridge.
mighty Hunter River.
We get a bridge back to our cars. Yeah. The whole place fills with water, tidal water.
Yeah,
but our socks
mangroves everywhere, so it stinks.
Our socks are drenched. But Liam, we have a game
but
against.
Our hearts are dry and warm.
We have a game against the Sharks this Saturday, the 20th of May. But you'd think it's just got to be Marathon Stadium. Is it going to be Shark Park? It's neither. We're going up to Coffs Harbour, and this has a special place in Liam's heart, or a place you don't like. Liam,
Coffs Harbour has a special place in my butthole.
Okay. All right.
Don't care for it. 'Cause growing up, obviously, in Sawtell, you know, You going to Coffs? I'm like, oh, we're going into Coffs. So why are we going to the city for? Why are we going to the Big Smoke? And you get there and there's traffic lights and, their cinema has 3 screens.
Wow.
It's unheard of in Sawtell. And their shopping mall had like 20 stores.
Gloria Jeans, I'm sure, was there. You
was
know,
wild.
fancy barista-made coffee.
They had a McDonald's in Coffs Harbour.
Good Lord.
Wow. So yeah, don't care for it. It was like you jousters from Newcastle. We hate Sydney. We don't like Sydney.
We hate Sydney.
That was Coffs Harbour to me. It was basically Sydney.
That was Sydney.
It
That
the
was
same
your
thing.
Sydney.
However, the stadium that they're playing at, CX Stadium, that does hold some very good memories for me. I remember when it was first built. It was a reasonable stadium for a rural area. It had the grandstand on one side, and
180 seats.
grass hills all around it. 180 at overflow capacity. And I remember one time it was 97, the beginning of the Super League war. They played a trial game, a Super League double header. I remember the Bulldogs were involved, but that's all. I haven't found any evidence of this game.
There was 3 other teams, possibly.
But it was great because, you'd have your footy and because you had the hills on each end, you wouldn't watch half the footy because you're down with the steed and running around, tackling each other, playing around, and then you can go onto the field. And it felt like it was the biggest stadium on earth because Rex Hardacre Oval didn't have a grandstand at all.
No.
And so while I despise the enormous metropolis of Coffs Harbour, quite like the stadium.
That's right.
Although they've bulldozed all the lovely forest around it to build a hospital and a bunch of hockey fields.
Is that a good thing if they've taken down trees to build a hospital? I don't know anymore.
The jury's still out. Jury's still out.
Lockie Miller, our very own fullback, is from Coffs Harbour.
No, he's from Sawtell.
From Sawtell.
He hates Coffs Harbour.
Adjacent. So he hates it.
Yeah.
Well, now he's returning back to his homeland.
Although the jetty, I will tell you though, that jetty to the left of your to the left of there. We used to jump off that growing up. It was really fun. It was a bit of a rite of passage.
Yeah.
The first time you go to the jetty, could you jump off it or were you too much of a pussy?
I
was, but I did jump off it eventually. I learned the power of harnessing my fear and leaping off a tall thing into a body of water, which is really fun.
We did that as well in Port Stephens.
Well, everyone who grew up on a small coastal town has a story of jumping off a big thing into water.
That's all you can do.
It's one of life's finest pleasures.
That's all you can do if you don't have a McDonald's and you don't have a stadium. You've
Jump
got a body of water and something to jump off.
Yeah.
There's some powerful players with the Shark Slam that's going to be very hard to beat, but I'm happy that we're not playing in Shark Park. We're up there in Coffs Harbour. Lockie Miller's from that area.
I'm glad you mentioned the powerful players they have because they're missing 2 of their most powerful. And this is what intrigues me. The middle. Now, the middle, they've had 2 very strong players the last couple of seasons. That's sexy Toby Rudolph, sexy, handsome Toby, and big, bad Braden Hemler-Nuele.
Yeah.
Now, those are 2 big, powerful men.
Missing.
In action.
Yeah.
Gone.
But they do have
Teague Wilton, my new favourite player.
Teague Wilton, your favourite player.
Love him.
As well as Nico Hines. And Mulatalo just seems to score tries like it's nothing.
The 2 wingers worry me terribly.
Yeah.
Sione Katoa and
Yep.
Ronaldo Mulatalo are fantastic wingers. They are very good. I hated Ronaldo Mulatalo in his first season because I mistook his passion for just being a dickhead.
Dickhead passion. Yeah.
But it's passion. He loves the game and all of his off-field work as well. I adore Ronaldo Mulatalo, and that came from a place of hatred. William Kennedy at the back.
Very good. Good
wonderful
service.
attacking player.
Yeah.
He's a real threat. We do have to watch out for him. And Matt Moylan, I don't know, he's old. He kind of comes in and goes out of games. But the one we really have to worry about, I think, Nagy, the one that's that's
gives you the nightmares.
one of their best players so far this season is Britton Nicola. On the right edge there, their second row. He's arguably the best line runner in rugby league currently. He hits that beautiful outline where he just goes, pow. Yeah, so I worry about Britton Nicola. But given our, edge defense tightened up a bit last week,
Hopefully we see that again.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see the Newcastle Knights naming 1 through 17 the same team. We're always having injuries, but not this week. We're rolling in the same team.
What a wonderful feeling.
Except we've moved Leo Thompson to the lock role, and we've moved the Red Mist into the front row.
The Red Mist.
It's going to be interesting to see if he can do all the wonderful things that he does and hopefully bash some people.
That would be nice. We haven't seen much bashing in the NRL this season.
Let the fists fly.
We saw a bit of a little baby bash from Corey Horsburgh on the weekend. A bit of a jump,
jump.
But that's been about the extent of the bashings. So bring back the bashings.
What do you score prediction, Liam, against the Sharks?
Oh, it's going to be a high scoring game because the Sharks score and they score in clumps. When they score, they'll score 3, they'll score 4. I'm going to go Newcastle Knights winning 38-24. to 32.
I think it's also going to be close. I think 18-16 to the Newcastle Knights.
Oh.
But I think we're going to score 4 tries and they're going to score 3.
Also, well done, Lockie Miller, for learning how to kick goals a bit better.
6 out of 8.
Yeah.
That's his best run so far.
Good stuff. Good boy,
In front of a slightly home crowd, but we're going to see it hopefully, and we'll prove it with he's ours. Fuck off, Sharks. Fuck off, Coffs Harbour.
Go away, Coffs Comets, you
Newcastle.
assholes.
We can all swear now because it's later in the show. So
The good thing about the good thing about the home ground in Coffs Harbour, Advocate Park, which is actually right next to where this stadium they're playing is that behind Advocate Park there was a Christian church. I don't remember which Christian sect it was.
Yeah,
but
it
it was one of them. So you go to the footy on Sunday. All the dads would get pissed, and then you'd happen to leave the clubhouse at the same time all the churchies were leaving. Stick out the thumb. Everyone's also happy to give you a lift home.
Everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
As that song goes, everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth.
Exactly.
I
was never allowed to tell mums. So sorry about that, mum. I never revealed that to you. But yeah, we got lifts home from the churchies.
Liam, we better open that sack of yours. We've gone
Yes.
for a very long time tonight.
have.
Open up that bustling sack of yours. So what have we got in
Bustle on sack. The first sack question is from one of our best sackers, K. William Wilson. I always love Kelly chiming in. Now, it pains Kelly to ask this. One of several things that pains him from day to day. But are you surprised, Nagy and Liam, that the Pong has suddenly hit the on switch when Origin is around the corner? Now, it doesn't surprise me. He's a big game player.
Conspiratorial, Kelly.
Yeah,
Conspiratorial.
big game player. And, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
If he aspires to play wonderfully in State of Origin, he has to play wonderfully at club level.
At least once.
At
Or
least
at least
one
3
time.
times, possibly.
And
Yeah.
if he can do it 3 times, that's better than him doing it not at all. So, while yes, Kelly, I think you're right. That
Cash
it
your
is-
check. Cash your check, Kalen. We only need 3.
Yeah. So I think, Kelly, you are right that it has conveniently his best performance in a while come before Origin.
He was also asking about Corey Horsburgh.
I loved her.
I tell you what,
him.
there's something about Corey, especially the game he had against the Bulldogs. I think 2 weeks ago, right before I went and watched the wonderful Josh Ballico and the main guys and the other guys and Loverlamp at the Hamilton Station Hotel. I was caught the Canberra Raiders playing the Bulldogs, and Corey Horsburgh had one of the best games of rugby league I've ever seen in my life.
Now he gets mischaracterized too much as just an angry, fiery red man. But he's actually got a lot of nuance to his game. He's a good ball playing lock.
Yeah.
But not in the mold of the original ball playing locks where they just got it and they shoveled it on. He actually has some nous about when he chooses to distribute the ball and not.
Yeah.
And the aggression, Kelly would well know. The aggression of a pale man with red hair
Oh.
cannot be beaten. It cannot be beaten. So the thought of him playing in Origin, it does worry me.
Yeah.
But seeing him at Clubland, brilliant. I think he's fantastic.
It's a wonderful
He's
thing.
made for Origin. That word gets, that phrase, it gets bandied around so much.
Every-
Carl Webb, made for Origin. Corey Horsburgh,
Made
for Origin. Andrew Johns,
Every
made for
team needs
Origin.
one redhead. I've always said it. It provides balance to the force.
Yeah.
It allows you. It's the person that is way more aggressive than anyone else, and they have a strange amount of strength. I don't know.
Funnily enough, Nagy, our redhead in the Knights is our most laid-back guy. Mr. Kalen with his kind of maroon hair.
Oh,
it's
that's
not a real
that's
redhead.
Auburn.
It's
It's Auburn.
It's Auburn. Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Do we have any current redheads in the team?
I don't think so.
Oh, we probably should have researched
Dane
that.
Tilse.
Dane Tilse did not have red hair.
Not Dane Tilse. Who am I thinking of? The Dane Tola.
Dan Toller, yes.
Dan Tola.
Steve Southern, Bluey. Bluey Southern came down from the Cowboys. He had a bit of mongrel in him. He was good.
He had a bit of mongrel for the 4 games he played for the Newcastle Knights.
Knights legend. Joel Southgate, thank you again for chiming in, Joel. Should the NRL have a retro round? Speaking of jerseys, we forgot to flash up the Indigenous jersey. The Knights have released the first images of the Indigenous jersey.
Oh, we could possibly get it. We can ask
Can we
the
get that
Boffins
back,
to get
Mr.
that up.
Boffin? Thank you. Because I wanted to highlight it because Indigenous round is so important to the
Absolutely.
NRL.
Yeah.
And I love that clubs take it so seriously to design a fantastic,
Look at that.
a fantastic jersey.
That has to be one of their best Indigenous jerseys
Yeah.
we've released in the last 10 years.
It really is. It's an absolute beauty.
'cause
I
so
love
often-
especially the incorporation of the traditional big green NIB logo.
Yeah,
so
look,
important to our community.
No, because quite often the logo just completely impedes the design, but somehow that manages to flow.
Yeah. So anyway, I say that they've absolutely nailed it. The
They've
Knights
nailed
this
it.
year.
Well done, Newcastle
Yeah.
Knights.
And usually when they have a kind of color gradient, Doesn't really work, but it
Doesn't
actually
work.
works on that
Actually
jersey.
works
So,
on
yeah.
it.
So apologies, Boffins, for not bringing that up earlier. But yes, no, we do agree. And should the NRL have a retro round and should we wear our Henny Penny jerseys? P.S. Love the show, legends. Thank you again, Joel. And Joel, yes, as indicated by this photo here of the ugliest man alive, Mark Glanville. I think we need to bring that jersey back. And we need to bring back the hard-headed bastardry
I don't think it's
of Mark Glanville.
It's Mark Sargent.
Oh, Mark
It's
Sargent. rather. It's
Mark Glanville
all Marks
also.
look the same.
Mark Sargent and Mark Glanville, two notoriously ugly men. They were rugged.
Mark Latham also.
Mark Latham,
Notoriously ugly,
men,
rugged,
all the
very
Marks.
racist.
Sorry, all the Marks listening. You're ugly. It's just what happened. You were named that, and then your face became not classically handsome. But it was. He also looks a little bit like he doesn't know where he is. So this is before the concussion was brought.
I was going to say, yeah, he probably would have been taken off for a HIA 4 times in that game. That was the way of the man. That was the way he played. So yeah, bring the Henny Penny jersey back. They still sell them on Peter Wynn Score. Jousters, we could put up a GoFundMe. All we need to do is buy 17 of those off Peter Wynn Score of varying sizes, and we can just say to the boys, we bought your jerseys, don't worry.
We've got them all.
Yeah.
We've
We'll
bought
call
them.
Phil up and say, look, Phil, we did your job for you
got 'em.
again.
We'll invoice you next week.
Yeah, we'll invoice you. No. Because that takes the power away from us.
Oh, right.
Because then we can hold it over his head. Phil,
Remember
we
that
did
time?
You remember that time?
Got you all the jerseys.
We got you all the jerseys. We washed them too, man.
We did the laundry. They're soft now. We added some of that
Cold power.
Cold power.
You remember how it used to be good to clean in warm water, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh no,
Don't do that.
Cold water's the best." When
Cold
did that
water.
happen?
I think it's too many colours were running here.
it's the running
the running colours. You can watch the whites in warm, but there's the colours in the.
Yeah, it was
in
just
the
so
cold.
odd that it switched from you need to have really hot water to clean your stuff to cold
cold
power,
water.
the cleansing power of cold.
We can talk about detergents all night, Liam, but we have another question in the sack.
Nicholas Milligan got an important question rather for the sack. Which of the Newcastle Knights mums is the best sort? Now, Milligan, I am disgusted that you don't believe that every Knight's mum is as beautiful, if not more so, than the one before.
Gorgeous.
I think they're all fantastic sorts, as is demonstrated by their beautiful boys.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Mother's Day,
Yeah.
there was 17 proud mums out there.
All the hot mums.
All the hot mums,
Yeah.
all proud of their 17 hot Newcastle boys.
Yeah.
So, Milligan, they're all gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, but
Aren't
another...
Sorry, I was just going to say gorgeous one more time.
Just another question from Nick
Supplementary
Milligan.
question from Liam.
Oh, lots of supplements tonight. We maybe get buff. Another question, given that our supplements usually do different things to us. Given that Bradman Best spent his recent time in Bali building a house for an impoverished family, should he immediately receive an OAM? Yes, he should.
Yeah.
In fact, the real crime is that he hasn't received one already for just being a boy from Wyong.
Wyong. Yeah.
Succeeding.
Yeah.
Because coming
I
from
thought it's from
Wyong...
Woy Woy, wasn't it?
I don't know. They're the
It's
same.
all the W's down there.
It
Warnervale,
goes
Woy,
Warnervale to Wye to Woy Woy to Wyong,
Wyong.
or some blend
Some,
of that.
yeah.
It's ludicrous.
Look,
Why do you live on the Central Coast?
I
Nagy?
don't know. I don't get the train.
There's one good part of the Central Coast. It's the street Nagy lives on in the King Cumber Hotel.
Oh,
That's
gorgeous.
it.
Absolutely gorgeous. And
Yeah.
they're quite close by.
So yes, again, Milligan, in answer to your second supplementary question, yes,
Yes.
an OAM is incoming. We've signed the petition. It's not a very big petition. It's just us two. So far, so.
Two. We apparently we need 112.
Yeah.
So we're
1,000.
1,000 possibly. I don't know.
112,000.
112,000. If you like us, please like us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, all those social pipes. SoundCloud as well. Just like us, subscribe us, and listen to us.
Netflix.
If you
Prime Video. Binge.
We'll have our own streaming service 24 hours a day. Newcastle Knights content. We like delivering the Newcastle Knights stuff to you, and if you like listening to it, just give us a like. It'd be nice. Thanks. I'm just going to get higher. Cheers, boys. We'll catch you next week, hopefully, to review our wonderful Newcastle Knights win over the Sharks.
Next week we will be dressing up as Beaker from the Muppets.
Thank you, Justice. We'll catch you next week.